So I finally got around to watching the Thunderbolts. And honestly, this one scene sums up the entire movie.
Percents today.
Congressman Barnes, wow. You know, I never really thought you'd have a promising political career, but less than half a term. Yikes.
We're taking you in, Val.
I don't think so. Junior varsity, Captain America.
Walker.
Oh, nice to see you, Ava. Elena, you look awful. You sure you're really ready for that public-facing role you asked me about?
Eat shit, Valentina. Where's Bob?
Look at you. You are all so adorable. Just think, I send you down there to kill each other, and instead, you make nice and you form a team. Who is this old Santa?
I'm Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian.
What?
Yep, that was it. That sums up the entire movie. But gotta go through this because I've got to give you my top 10 takeaways from Thunderbolts. And actually, I'm gonna start off with something that I actually enjoyed. Let's dive into this. So we start off with number one. The one good thing this movie did, and that was killing gender swap Taskmaster. Honestly, nothing else could have been better than them doing that because literally nobody gives a shit about gender swap Taskmaster. In the Black Widow movie, it was an abomination. The fact that gender swap Taskmaster was hanging around was an even bigger abomination. Nobody liked this. The fact that Ghost shot gender swap Taskmaster in the head and you know, like nobody seemed to really give a shit. Everybody that kind of mentioned her like twice after that in the span of 10 minutes and then never again. And I was perfectly good with that. The character had no reason to exist other than the MCU wanting to be the MCU. Getting rid of gender swap Taskmaster was the best thing this movie did. Honestly, you couldn't find anything else that could top what they did there because literally nobody cared about anything else. Doing that one thing cemented it because everybody just didn't give a shit about gender swap Taskmaster. Let's get it into number two. Overused character trope. I am getting so sick and tired of every MCU movie and project having these characters be absolutely miserable. It's really freaking ridiculous. I mean, when you had the original MCU, you understand me? You had characters who had reasons to be slightly depressed, but it never weighed down on them too much. You had Captain America, who was basically a soldier out at time. So that bothered him because, you know, everything that he knew suddenly changed. You never saw him moping around about it. He did what he had to do. You had Bruce Banner, who literally turned into a raging green Hulk monster. He had every reason to be depressed. Hell, that scene where he talked about how he almost, how he tried to Minecraft himself. That scene had some actual impact because you know the struggle he was going through. You had Thor, who started off somewhat arrogant, lost his powers, and then had to really come to understand what it meant to be worthy of that power again. You know, you had these characters, hell, you even had Tony Stark, who started off as this cocky weapons dealer and then, you know, got a bitch slap of reality and had to start over. So that you had a bit of him being a little depressed, but he never really let it bother him. These characters had reasons to be what they were, but they never let that go on because they had things to do. Not every character is freaking miserable. They all sit around talking about how, oh, they don't know what's going on. They just feel so lost. They just feel so this. They don't know. Life is so meaningless. For the love of God, man. Can't any of you just suck it up? Oh Christ, that thing gets so annoying now. This ungodly approach to let everyone and ever be miserable. And speaking of miserable, we go to number 3, Elena. Now, here's the thing, eh? When Elena Belova was introduced in the Black Widow movie, she was an interesting character because she was bubbly, she had a smart mouth and good quips, all that kind of thing. You understood that, yes, she was in the Red Room, yes, she was a Black Widow, all of that. You were like, okay, this is a character who, despite all that, still has some kind of personality to her, and you like that about her. Oh my God, have they ruined that character at this point? She spends literally the entire movie in two forms, depressed and pathetic. That is it. That is it. And if you think I'm making this up, she literally tells Red Guardian at one point in the movie that, all she does is just work, go home, drink, be alone, cry, and she's miserable. And I'm like, oh my God, woman, come on. Maybe you just need a man. I mean, I don't know if people will get upset with that, but she literally says, she goes home, she's alone. Maybe that'll help. Maybe if you get a love life or something, that will help. But oh God, nobody wants to see this depressed, miserable version of you. That is it. That's all that you do in this character. And I've heard people saying online, oh, they finally gave us some depth as a character. How is that depth? She's miserable as shit. How is that depth, people? How? It's freaking annoying. You cannot even get interested in this character because it's just absolutely freaking depressed and miserable non-stop. That's all you get. You ruin Yelena as a character and just reduce her to this. Oh God, boy. And then speaking of depressed people, let's get into the rest of this so-called team. You have US agent John Walker, right? Who, okay, he was Captain America for like 30 seconds in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And yeah, maybe killing a terrorist where people are recording in broad daylight wasn't the best thing to do. But let's be perfectly honest, Bucky and Sam never wanted him to be Captain America, and they pretty much wanted that shield back at all costs. The man wasn't evil, he just did his job. Yeah, he's a little unstable, but still, he's a soldier. And compared to what people think, soldiers do have to kill. And those people were terrorists, but I'm just saying. But no, in this movie, again, he's also miserable and depressed because he tries to put on this brave front of, he's a soldier. Look at the front, oh, his wife left him, and you see a flashback of him obsessing over Captain America. And, or not even focusing on his son. Once again, depressed and miserable. Then you go on to Ghost, who literally, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Yeah? The actress who plays Ghost is very pretty. Very lovely woman, no problem with that. But if this character literally wasn't there, I don't think anybody would have noticed because Ghost just kind of takes up space. That's pretty much it. She has a couple lines here and there, that's about it, but nobody really pays any kind of attention to her. It's like, okay, Ava, and let's move on. That's it. There's a couple speaking lines, but you don't really even bother to really take anything about it. And then you have Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, because apparently they just figured, hey, you know what, we haven't done anything with Sebastian Stan in a while. Let's bring him into this movie and not really define anything because he's supposed to be like a congressman, and then you're kind of expecting him to probably get roped into something. No, he literally just goes after the Thunderbolts and then captures them and then gets roped in. It's like, what? It's like, come on. You're the freaking Winter Soldier, for God's sakes. You could have found some better use for him than just throwing him into this mess. But no, let's just throw everything into this blender and hope it freaking sticks. That's what's going on. I think one of number 5, the Red Guardian. There is only one way to describe the Red Guardian. literally only one way to describe the Red Guardian, and that is he's an absolute and utter moron. I have never been shy in saying I don't like what they have done to the Red Guardian. The Red Guardian should have had some kind of, more of an impact. No, now he's just this overweight, dirty old Santa who's just there, who constantly makes stupid jokes and talks like he's high as hell. It's ridiculous. It is literally ridiculous. Why do you even keep bringing this character into things? I don't know. But that's what they do because that's what keeps happening. And then the thing about it is that we go to number 6. They're not the Thunderbolts. Now, the thing about it is that in the comics, the Thunderbolts were villains who were pretending to be heroes, right? When the heroes weren't there pretending to be heroes. Certain point in time, they had some of them wanting to actually be heroes, but they kind of turned around. Okay, but they had to be villains for that to work. These people aren't villains. I mean, okay, Elena is an assassin who does things. Okay, you're an assassin, but you're not like some psychopath who wants to take over the world or anything. US agent isn't some unstable psycho who wants to be Captain America, is killing people. No, he literally was Captain America, but apparently, he has the super soldier serum as well because they're just giving that out like flu shots now. You understand me? He got it taken out from him, I think, and he's just doing wet work as well. But you're not evil. He's just a soldier. That's it. Then you have Ghost, who once again is evil, had a crappy childhood, and that was what brought her into this. That's pretty much it. We don't talk about Taskmaster because nobody cares. And you have Bucky Barnes, was the Winter Soldier, who did really bad things. Yes, brainwashed, and now he's no longer brainwashed. And these people aren't evil. They're not really the Thunderbolts at all. They're just all really pathetic. That's the only thing that they are going for them. They're just all really pathetic individuals. And this movie just finds ways to keep kicking them when it comes to that. That's it. You're not really getting anything out of it. That is kind of influence. You sit there, watch. I actually sat there watching the movie, and I kept rolling my eyes at times because I was looking for something to kind of stick, but no, it just wasn't. We go to number 7, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Okay, I'm not sure why they think this woman is important, but they keep trying to make it seem like she's some big thing. You understand me? She basically bought Avengers Tower, right? So she could show off, I guess. You understand me? She is behind the whole Century project. She literally has the rest of the Thunderbolts, except for Bucky Barnes, doing wet work and assassination thing for her, and then tries to kill them when her whole organization and everything gets under investigation. I mean, what exactly were they expecting when they were doing that? Of course, you're going to try to kill them. That's it. You're trying to act like this woman is some big thing, but you don't never really get it. She's just a corporate, entity who tries to do stuff. She tries to seem like she's important for some reason, but she's not. I mean, of course, they got that she had this flashback of how, when she was younger, she accidentally got her father killed, or kind of thing, to try and give her some kind of sympathy with the character. But you don't really feel anything with the character because she isn't actually a threat. She's just a greedy, entitled, wannabe businesswoman. Well, not just a wannabe businesswoman. She's just a businesswoman who just kind of wants to have public opinion of her. I mean, like, they basically try to set up as some kind of dollar store Amanda Waller, but it just doesn't work. Honestly, you look at the character and you're not really threatened by her or anything like that. You just kind of go, well, okay, I guess that's what she does. That's it. Number 8, Bob / Sentry. All right, so Bob is Bob. Apparently, Bob is some kind of drug addict with schizophrenia or something who underwent a trial that Valentina's organization was doing to turn people into like the Sentry, who basically, well, okay, I could say basically in the comics, the Sentry got himself injected with a super soldier serum 1,000 times more powerful than the one Captain America had, and gave him the power of I think 1,000,000 exploding suns. We never get any kind of real background on this procedure or anything like that, which would have kind of added to it in some way. No, apparently Bob just survives, and then when he's captured by Valentina, all it takes is her talking to him in a nurturing voice and telling him that she believes in him, and then him focusing to move a glass of water is all it takes for him to become the Sentry. She then has him dye his hair and come out in the Sentry suit, and he easily takes down the rest of the Thunderbolts because she talked to him nicely. There is literally no lead up here. Literally nothing to make you go, okay, this is something. You don't find out anything about the whole Sentry program other than there's some papers, and that's about it. You understand me? There is there's no nothing, no bill on it, no nothing. He just kind of, 1 minute is Bob, and then next minute she talks to him, and then suddenly he's dyed his hair and wearing the Sentry outfit, and he's suddenly the Sentry. Not sure why anybody's supposed to take this at all seriously, but that's what happens. It's a real letdown. If you want to introduce the Sentry, you could have done it better than that. You could have had some build up and actually move the whole plot along, but you don't get that. Then you go to number 9, the Void. So, you remember how I mentioned that Bob is a schizophrenic? Well, apparently Bob has good days, bad days, and apparently giving somebody with this kind of mental problems, a super soldier that turns them into basically all-powerful, isn't a good thing. Because when Bob starts to get a fat head and think that, oh, he's a god and he doesn't need to listen to her, and her Valentina's assistant Mel uses a kill switch on him, he comes back from the dead as the Void, and all he gets is just really dark with some white eyes. That's it. You could have made the Void look a little more menacing, like give him some long hair, twist his Sentry signal on his chest. On his belt, he could have moved to just that kind of V. He got like a red cape, and make him look terrifying. And then the whole thing about what he does is that the Void literally traps you in like a shadow pocket dimension or shadow mental scape, I guess, where once thing that really hits you, all that's left is this black shadowy outline on the ground, and you end up in this reality where you're forced to relive your worst nightmare over and over again, and the deeper you go, the more terrifying it becomes. Now, this sounds horrible, and it would have been had you gotten to see a bunch of people screaming and wailing as the terror grips them, but you don't. You got this thing with literally Elena reliving how her first mission in the Red Room as a child was to set up a next child to get gunned down. And then she kind of just moves through the whole thing there and gets to Bob. And then she and Bob goes and finds the Void, and has to fight the Void. And Bob is fighting the Void, and the Void is happy because the more Bob is fighting, the more the Void is taking over. And you think, well, okay, the rest of the Thunderbolts will then go into the same dark dimension, if you want to call it that, instantly fine, and you're thinking, well, okay, they lost before. Maybe we're going to see some epic battle here inside of this, where they have to overcome their fears and literally be the best they can or something like that. And we're down. No, how does it all end? They just hug Bob, and that brings him back. I mean, maybe I'm the only one here, but does anybody else remember when they actually used to fight bad guys? Like, why is everything have to end with a hug or, cherry blossoms or crap like that? For the love of God, beat up somebody at this point. That's really it. I mean, like I said before, you kind of, the whole, and once it do that, they all come out of it and Bob has no memory or whatever, because that's how it's supposed to go, I guess. It's like, they try to act through the whole movie like, these people aren't heroes, but they literally do heroic things throughout the entire movie. That's it. Every opportunity that they have to just be selfish and leave and abandon, they keep coming back to help each other, so there's nothing shocking there. Let me get to number 10. Who even was the villain in this thing? Because I'm confused. I'm guessing they could say it's kind of Valentina, but like I said, she's just a greedy opportunist, and she faces no consequences for anything that she does in the end, because I'm guessing she has a vagina or something, because, women can't be held accountable for anything anymore. She literally doesn't get held accountable for anything at all. Understand me? Maybe it's the void, but that's more like mental illness than, some kind of evil personality that was given life. When that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I don't even know anybody else. The Thunderbolts sure as hell aren't villains. There's literally no villain in this. It's just, let's bring in a bunch of depressed people, explore mental illness, and then just keep going from there, I guess. It's really it. It's really it. I mean, and then at the end we get a cameo where they see like this interdimensional ship comes through, and there's a large Fantastic Four emblem on the side of the ship, so we know what's coming up there. But that's pretty much it. That's really it. And since you've made it to this far, I'm going to give you a bonus here, number 11, the New Avengers. We all know this reeks of desperation. The Thunderbolts had an asterisk in the title, and it was because they wanted to just literally change the title to the New Avengers. That's actually what they do in the movie. Valentina, once again facing no repercussions for anything, sets up a press conference to then act like, she manipulates public attention and public perception, and then rebrands these bunch of weirdos as the New Avengers. And that's it. Like, we could see that the MCU is desperate as hell at this point, but come on now, man. This isn't good. This isn't interesting. And this is the direction that the MCU is going. I just want it gone, because it's just really pathetic at this point. Honestly, it's really, really pathetic at this point. Nothing is going anywhere. Nothing happens. It's just really ridiculous. Ah, boy. My final rating for Thunderbolts, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. I mean, if you want to check it out, fine. The movie isn't good. It's not good. You really don't care about anything in this movie. You really have to watch a couple other stuff to even understand anything that happens. And it's just more depressed, pathetic characters that I'm sick and tired of. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like it, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.